When we talk about conflict, we really talk about two people being opposed to each other. We talk about couples being in an adversarial relationship or opponents. We're fighting with each other. One of us has to win, one of us has to lose. But the problem with that kind of thinking is it puts conflict in exactly the wrong position to take a couple where they need to go. There's situations and times where you have to fight people, where there needs to be a winner and a loser. And occasionally it might be argued that in a couple, in a relationship, somebody might need, on occasion, to win. But for the most part, conflict has to be seen differently. It can't be an adversarial relationship. It can't be opponents, winner and loser. It's got to be something that we see as a partnership. And that's the theme for today, that we have to see argument, difficult conversation, conflict as a team sport. And the mission is we have to win this together. That's not pretty language. I'm not trying to put lipstick on a pig. I'm talking about if it's going to be productive and it's going to take us where we have to go, the issue we have to address, the problem we have to solve. And we can't just get there, quickly in agreement, but we have different opinions, different views, different needs that we're going to have to argue. We've got to argue in a way that gets us to a productive outcome, not a destructive outcome. The key piece for that is to see conflict as a partnership, that we're wrestling together to accomplish something together. So, well, the two perspectives are night and day, because we tend to see argument as, opponents and enemies and win-lose. We tend to avoid conflict. We don't want to do that with the person we love. And then when we're absolutely pinned against the wall, then we fight, and we usually fight poorly. No other way to say it. It makes us anxious because we see this battle as to the death, or at least metaphorically to the death. We're afraid it's going to be destructive. It could end the relationship. Sure, if you're coming at it that way, I win, you lose, you win, I lose, destruction isn't impossible. Maybe it's even likely. But if we start seeing it as a partnership, two people dealing with the problem together, looking at the issue together, yeah, different perspectives, different desires, well, then, okay, we're going to have to wrestle with it. We're going to have to sit down and think about it and maybe get some information and have difficult conversations. Maybe have to say difficult things to each other. This is what I really think. I'm afraid you're going to be upset, but this is what I really think. And I'm going to have to listen to you say things that make me upset, make me anxious. Okay, but still the goal is to get someplace together, to accomplish this journey together. So some questions to ask yourself, ways to begin to reorient from conflict as enemy to conflict as partner. And in no particular order, one that seems to really help some of my clients is, do you love each other? Which is kind of a weird question, except that when you get into conflict, the love can be a little scarce. We can be looking for love and not finding it because we're enemies, we're opponents, we have to have this battle. No. Do you love each other? And the second question, are you looking for solutions as opposed to victory? Well, that by itself is going to help reorient you. Hey, you know what? We have this issue. Not you're being difficult, or I don't understand why you can't ever see it this way, but we have this problem. Because guess what? If you're in a relationship as a couple, it's both your problem. My issue is our issue. Your issue is my issue. Again, that's not pretty words. If we're not in a relationship, my stuff is my stuff, your stuff is your stuff. But if we're in a relationship, your stuff is my stuff, at least as far as it impacts how we're going to go on together as a couple. Here's a third question. Would you prefer that you're both reasonably happy with the outcome of the argument? I'm assuming yes, right? But it's a question we don't ask. In our headlong charge to victory, or making the conflict go away or trying to avoid it, we don't go, okay, what would work for both of us? And have we really sat down and thought that through? And there's probably more than one solution that would work for both of us. Again, notice that I'm reorienting away from win-lose to how do we do this together? How do we make this thing make sense together? There are some other questions. What are we actually fighting about? Have we gotten clear on the core issue, the bottom line, the specific problem? Often couples, because they come at it as opponents, start in different places, or arguing about different things. Have we really addressed the core issue? And are we clear about it? While we're here, what are we looking for as outcomes? What have we individually thought about potential outcomes? Because if we're talking about that, we're probably going to do better work together than we do apart, especially if the topic is sensitive or it makes us anxious. And speaking about anxiety, how does this issue make us anxious? It could be argued that a lot of conflict starts from anxiety. I don't really want your in-laws to come this Christmas, but you really want them to come, and I'm afraid it's going to piss you off, but I'm stressed about it because they make me crazy and they make you crazy. What are we anxious about? It's not always in-laws, by the way. What are we anxious about? What are we stressed about? What are we worried about? Let's get clear about that too. And thinking about this, it may not happen in one conversation. This may not be a one and done. This might take 2 conversations or 10 conversations while you sort out what it is you're trying to do and get there together. I'm really sneakily introducing the topic of negotiation, which I'll get into in another video. But the bottom line is this: I want to review the questions that reorient us towards a partnership as opposed to win-lose. Do you love each other? Assuming the answer is yes. Are you looking for solutions as opposed to victory? Probably it'd be strange if you weren't. Would you both like to be reasonably happy with the outcomes? Of course. Who wouldn't, right? What are we actually fighting about? Can we get specific about it? What are we each looking for? What solutions have we come up with by ourselves? Let's pool those, see what we can do to get there together. What are we anxious about? What is it that's lurking in the background that's making us crazed, anxious, stressed, uncomfortable talking about it, afraid, etc.? And giving it the time it takes 1, 2, 3, 10, 15 conversations. That's collaborative problem solving. That's collaborative conflict. All right. See you next time.